Namaskar friends, I welcome you all to the digital media of Uday India. On our regular episode that is Bhartiyata Ka Sankhnaad, today I will tell you that friends, you all must have heard opposition making tall claims of democracy and that is danger in India. And they often claims that there is onset emergency like situation in India where no one can speak against the government. Whoever speaks is put behind bars and what not. That is what the opposition claims, alleges in India. Friends, I don't want to tell you what is the reality, but today I will tell you what danger to democracy really means and how people fight with such dangers. And you all must have heard that thousands of Israelis took to streets on 25th of July to protest a new law that would weaken the Supreme Court. The law which was passed by the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government would give the Knesset, the Israel Parliament, the power to appoint and dismiss Supreme Court justices. I can say this has happened in Israel. And had it been happened in India, imagine what would have been the reactions in India. The protesters in Israel came from all walks of life, blocked the roads, burned tires and waved Israel flags. They chanted slogans such as "Save the Supreme Court" and "Netanyahu, go back, go home." The protests were the latest in a series of demonstrations against the Netanyahu government's effort to overhaul the judiciary. In recent months, the government has also proposed laws that would make it easier to dissolve the Supreme Court and that would give the government the power to veto Supreme Court rulings. Imagine, can it happen in India? The protesters argue that the new law would undermine the rule of law and democracy in Israel. And they say that the Supreme Court is the last line of defense against government overreach, and that the new law would give the government too much of power. Netanyahu has defended the law and said that it is necessary to reform the judiciary. And he has said that the Supreme Court has become too powerful and that it has interfered in the government decisions on too many occasions. The protests have put Netanyahu in a difficult position. He is facing a growing backlash from the public, but he is also under pressure from his right-wing allies to pass the law. And it is unclear what will happen next. The law still needs to be approved by the Israel Parliament a second time, and it is possible that it could be defeated also. However, the protests have shown that there is a strong public opposition to the law, and it is likely that the issue will continue to be debated in Israel for some time now. Now let us compare this situation to India. I mentioned you just now. Despite all the allegations of dangers to democracy in India, everything is going peacefully. Here in India, people still have the freedom to say anything to the Prime Minister of the country. In India, they can even place a bounty for anyone who can cut PM's head. People are cut into pieces. People are being cut into pieces just for a slip of tongue of someone else. Friends, despite all this, opposition has the guts to say that democracy is in danger in India. Friends, Western countries filed report after report that democracy and human rights are in danger in India, as if it is all safe in Western countries. And all the Western press, all the media from the Western countries regularly they do this continuously, and that is their agenda. And in fact, they are creating narrative against the norms of democracy and against India also, against the principles of democracy in India. But do you see any such danger? Can anybody say that? Sorry, the press and media, they openly and freely criticize every politician here, even the Prime Minister. They can criticize anyone in India because of the judiciary's extreme independence. Some individuals occasionally worry that it is going too far. For example, consider the same-sex marriage court hearings as an example. Such laws are created by an elected parliament in other nations. The Supreme Court has chosen to examine petitions pertaining to same-sex marriage despite the fact that many members of parliament, both from the ruling party and the opposition, are either against it or do not view it as a pressing matter. Friends, this is just one instance of how the judiciary has gone too far. Siddiq Kapan was detained along with 3 other people who had ties to an organization that has since been outlawed and was charged with supporting terrorism. It is common everywhere in the globe for anyone found with suspected terrorists to be treated as suspect. After 2 years of hearing his case several times, the court finally released him on bail. However, they didn't clear him of all accusations. Friends, international organizations with self-serving motives assert that India has worse press freedom than some Gulf regions. And this is absurd because no press in no countries would ever dare to oppose the ruling families. Thus, any rankings are poor conjecture. Additionally, just because Rahul Gandhi is a member from a prominent family and many times he has behaved himself like a voice of opposition, it doesn't automatically exempt him from the rule of law. Any member of parliament who is found guilty of a crime and is sentenced to 2 years or more in prison is expelled from the parliament. And that is what occurred in that case. India is prospering and the economy is growing under Narendra Modi government, and yesterday you have heard if Narendra Modi government got a third chance, then India will be there. India will be the third powerful economy in the world. It has always been and always will be a thriving democracy. That is what India has maintained. But our media from Western nations, they don't like. They always criticize Indian democracy. They will always create a one-sided report to defame and give a bad name to the biggest democracy, that is India. Friends, this is a food for thought, really to think what is the situation in India and what is the situation outside. That's all for today. Thank you. Bharat Mata ki Jai.